Okay, folks, welcome back. And I got a mess here. So we need to sort that out before anything else. And we got a new product to try out today. I don't know how that's going to work, but we will give it a shot. The cord over here. All right, and then we've got all kinds of brushes that need to be put away. I'll leave those two detail brushes out. We're going to need them probably pretty soon. And we'll get the usual suspects back in their bins where they belong. That's pretty much how things get left, is how you'll find them again. Because I generally do not come in here and clean house while I'm not on video. The non-edited channel. So we've got some Panthers here that we put the decals on. Heck, I don't know what it was. Sunday? I think it was Sunday, something like that. There we go. And the Stug is done, other than being sealed. The Panzer IIIs are done, other than being sealed, and, well, actually the top and bottom halves glued together. All three of those. The Brumbar, same boat. And the Panthers, we put the decals on. That's where we're at right now. And I added multiple layers of whatever this stuff is called. Microsol. Yeah, the softening one. Hey Nordic, what's happening? Couple layers of that. And I don't know. I don't like numbers over details anyways. It looks like it's sitting flush, but I don't know. We're gonna leave these that way. You know, this may be the last time I do numbers over details, because then I got to go in there and I got to shade, and I don't know that I'm gonna do all that. So, and then if you don't do that, then any detail they're over doesn't stand out. Debating what to make for dinner. Let the other people in your house cook for you. Go have a TV dinner. You don't even have to watch TV. So the product I got in the mail is from Microscale also. It's called liquid decal film. And supposedly this is what you can use to repair old decals. Apply a continuous coat of Microscale decal film with an artist's brush to an old decal and allow 15 minutes drying time. Apply like a regular Microscale decal. So, I wish I hadn't thrown those other decals away. But I didn't throw them all away. I just threw, I think it was the ones from the white Scout car. So, let's find another set that's old. And fractured is what somebody called it. There's the ones from the Vespa. That might be a good candidate. they need to be old decals. Some of these aren't old. They may look old, but they're not. I just want to test if this stuff works, because I got some cool decals here for the Hetzer, and I'd hate for them to go sideways. Those might actually not be that old. Well, supposedly it doesn't hurt anything to go over decals with them, so here's another batch. You don't care for TV dinners, to be honest. Well, I don't think anybody does. Nobody's like, I can't wait to eat one of those. They're just like, way to shut your stomach up. No, these are relatively new ones. Those are new. Maybe I don't have any. I'll just return that decal liquid. That's from the Jagdpanzer IV. It's the Panther. Well, I built the Panther not that long ago. Hold on, there's decals here for the Hummel. That's the ones that are really, really ancient. Yeah, I don't think anybody's like, man, I can't wait to get my hands on that yummy TV dinner. Said no one ever. I said that to some kid. There was one of our friends' kid that's used to his dad cooking for him for everything, and he came over to the house one time a couple of years ago, and he was going to stay the night. So we ended up going to the grocery store. And I said, well, go ahead and pick yourself up a TV dinner there. Pick one of them, and that way you'll have some food at home. And he's like, he didn't understand what that was. He didn't understand what it was. I'm like, okay then. Well, we're going to try it with a Vespa then. If we can't, I know there's decals here for the Hummel. Maybe I was mistaken. I don't have much of a brain left over after these last couple days. Okay. We're going to go ahead and put all these away. I didn't see the Hummel here. Let me look again. Persistence is the key to victory. If you give up, you're never going to win. True story. That's not those. I have a lot of decals that just aren't useful. These are supposedly 1/72nd scale, but these numbers are way too big. Got bent on that one. Actually, the ones I use are the 1/72nd scale ones. The 1/87th. Here it is. I knew this joker was in here somewhere. Okay, yeah, these are the ones that look really old. So we're going to coat all of them, both of those sheets, with this film. These might actually be okay. This might be a modern Italeri. What company makes the decals you're pulling out? Esci, E-S-C-I. Large sheets of decals, microscale. Well, some of them are microscale, and the ones with the little tiny numbers is a company called MD Modelblau or TB Modelblau or something like that. I guess you enjoyed the game night that we had the other day. I had no intention to. See, this is what I'm talking about. That drives me crazy about change of plans. That's the kind of crap that happens every day at work constantly. And it gets, I mean, it's an absurd amount of changes constantly. And, you got to do planning and stuff. So it's not like, I'm just going to go with the flow and it is what it is. It's like, no, you wasted your time planning and doing shit. So when I talked to Mitch a couple days before, I'm like, is anybody coming over? I said, well, somebody may come over, but I said, well, let me know because I don't want to gear up, get everything together to do our show, and then it ended up being a game session, and I wasted my time going down there. And then a little later, about 4 o'clock, he said, nah, Don's not going to make it. I said, all right, we'll come down. I'll be there as soon as I can. I'm supposed to leave at 4:30. I didn't get there until 7:30. That's how far behind I was. Well, I wasn't. I was stuck waiting on people. So then I get there, and then, it all worked out, but it's frustrating that it's just like a change of plans. So, I'm just kind of tired of announcing shit. It's just going to be what it is. Like I've said before, if I plan on doing A and we end up doing Q, I'm the first person that's upset about it. So... It's just, I'm really opposed to anything in my personal life having any kind of similarity to the nonsense I have to deal with on a work day. So, all right, we're just going to go over these, and I'm going to cut them out individually. And once again, I went to bed way too late, and I've been suffering all week long. Didn't get to do this last night, as I got home way too late. By the time I ate, it's like 9 o'clock. I can't start the show at 9. I just don't have enough oomph left in me. Not since I've been up since 5, so... And then the previous night, same thing. Okay. 15 minutes supposedly to dry. Okay. Well, we'll see about that. Mr. Luff. Also on the craft table. There you go. Make stuff. Make stuff happen. Okay, so in the meanwhile, since we're doing the Hummel and the Vespa, I'm going to go ahead and paint the Hummel and the Vespa. That only stands to reason that we should be doing that. And what was this mid-war color? Dunkelgelb. That's the late war one. The highlight. There it is. You'd rather get a good night's sleep over painting miniatures. Nah, fuck sleeping. Sleeping's not what I want to do. I would rather paint miniatures than play a game. Especially when playing the game throws my entire schedule up. We're just going to dry brush some of this mid-war shade Dunkelgelb. But that game was kind of fun. But then I started looking at it afterwards, and I'm like, I don't think I really liked it, because when you start looking at the numbers that come up on there, it's a real liability. Battleships are a real liability. I certainly wouldn't build anymore. I agreed to purchase Stalingrad 42 as a supplement last night. It's a big game in the series for Mark Simons. Man, what's your secret to be able to purchase games and not work? Tell me what it is so I can retire. I don't want to go more than that because the camouflage is going to be really subtle then. But it needs to be lightened up. But that's all I'm going to go over it. We can go over the details afterwards. Thought the game was fun, but the dice rolling mechanic and win conditions seemed like crap to me. They just seem to be fast forwarded to the end type of game. They should have made the map larger. Yeah. I like the die rolling mechanics, but it just boiled down to just being like, hey, you got to hit on something that's not there. Like, huh? I did like everything moving one, though. You earn money, just not a lot. You have an OnlyFans account, don't you? I also had a savings that I live off during the health problems and pandemic. Well, I'm ready for a fucking break. And I'm telling you, every day is busier and busier. It's a good thing I didn't want to take a vacation during this time, or I would be sadly disappointed. Each island should have a number of zones. Each island's a product Hasbro being a shitty company these days. Yeah, was it built? Was Avalon Hill still around? Was already taken over by Hasbro? It might have already been taken over by Hasbro. I'm starting to think that most companies are shitty companies. I really am. Vacations are overrated. All they do is relieve you of stress for a couple days, then you're right back to being stressed. Well, if you want to do something, I don't take them unless I have to. But we're getting to the point where. Oh no. Okay, we're good. Oh. Let's put these over here. like they've got some loss of color. They're all milky. Well, look, if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. You know, we're getting to the point where it's like, you know, people keep pushing you and pushing you and pushing you. I'm waiting for them to say to, you know, answer personal calls on my personal phone, and I'm not going to do it. You know, I have an extremely unflexible work schedule. And because of that, when I'm done there, I'm done. And you give people an ability to cancel stuff on you when they're not at the office, it gives them a crutch to basically not plan. You know, and it's really frustrating when you have to do a lot of planning yourself. And then it's not in reciprocal. I had an email conversation. I had this one thing I was needing to get from somebody. And it's this, we'll call it the city. It's not the city, but it's something like that. It's basically a company that's non-competition. They provide utilities for somebody. And, you know, we get these orders from them. And there's two things we have to have. We have to have this order form, and then we have to have a PO, and they both have to match. And that's how they want to do business. And there's no way to go around it. We tried to go around it one day to help somebody that was making a delivery, and we got chewed out. And I'm not going to get chewed out trying to help somebody out. If I'm going to get chewed out, I'm going to stomp on somebody's foot. You know, I'm going to do something like deserving. Not just like trying to help somebody out, you know, get in trouble for it. So that's fine. I can not help somebody out if that's how it's going to be. But both of these things have to come from this entity. And they're not emailed in the same email. They come from two different people that don't talk to each other. They work for the same company, but they must be nemesis of each other because they don't communicate. That's typical government entity. I do this tiny little piece of the pie, and I don't know what the fuck goes on over here. And then this other person does this little tiny little piece of the pie. The clock strikes 4:30 and they're freaking gone. That's just, you know, I hope they're not paid well. But you got to get these two things, and they won't coordinate to get it on the same email. So basically, if you get this order and you get one of them, you still got to sit on your hands until you get the other one. And we had gotten one for a long time. Somebody was asking delivery, like several months ago. And I contacted the lady. I said, you know, I haven't gotten this PO. This customer's looking for this delivery. This contractor's looking for this delivery. Can you get this to us? Well, I already sent it to so-and-so. She doesn't even send it to me. She sends it to the sales guy. And eventually it works its way. I said, you know, if you want to just add me onto the thread of the people that go on there, you know, then I'll get a copy of it and I won't bother you. No, she still sent it to the thing. She's on my shit list now. She's on my shit list. Because these are the same people that, you know, every time there's some kind of a change, you're like, take this person off, they don't work anymore, add these other people. So anytime I email something, there's like this email thread of like 16 people on there. And I've got to find an old email because you're never going to remember who the hell's on there. Find the last email, go through the thread, go in there and add it on there. I just wanted a real simple thing to kind of help the contractor out. Just copy me on it as well. Wouldn't do it. All right, you're on my shit list. And I'm like the mafia. I remember stuff for a long fucking time. That's the part that's Sicilian in me. Especially if you do something to me that I would never do to you in response. And I'm going to remember that forever. I'm going to take it to me to the grave. It's going to probably eat half my liver. I don't give a fuck. You'd rather stretch out vacation to have a number of 3-4 day weekends. Well, it's not up to me. Yeah, I'd rather take them one day at a time. Well, the camouflage got more subtle, and I don't really mind that. I'm actually okay with it. I'm certainly not going to airbrush the whole damn thing again. If I don't like how it turns out, I'm buying. It's a shitty model, anyways. Right? Everybody says this is a piece of crap, not a very good model. Well, I'm going to still make it look better than people are used to it looking. I better let this dry some more. I'm going to let that dry a couple hours. How about that? Okay. Back to the Panther. Now those are ready to decal when we get the... No, they're not ready to decal. We need to go ahead and put the gloss coat where they go. So I'm going to go ahead and pull the instructions on both of them. And see where they suggest I put stuff. Okay, here's the Hummel. Oh, and here's the Vespa. Hanging out together. Okay. Let's do the little guy first. Oh, look, Gross Deutschland, 407. We're not going to put... This is not going to be Gross Deutschland. This is going to be non-denominational. Okay, so all these numbers... Move these guys out of the way. All these numbers here... This goes into A. What color does this 11 come in? White. Kind of like the 11. What color is that 15? Black. Yeah, I don't want to really do black numbers on that. I'd rather do white. What about the 407? It's red. Yeah, we're going to put the 11, and we're going to put the 11 up here. And then we'll have a cross here. They have a cross back here in the back. B, yeah. Okay. All right, so let's get this stuff right here. May consider painting some miniatures this weekend. I have the Polish infantry primed. I just haven't been in the mood to paint them. I haven't been in the mood to paint figures either. Oh well. We'll get there eventually. I'm gonna gloss this up here just in case I want to put something there. Okay, and then the Vespa. I could go look at a million pictures. Yeah, I don't have time for that. I don't have the energy for that. G. What the hell's B at the front? Oh, a license plate? But it's an SS license plate. Yeah, we're not doing that. That guy can go fly a kite. Up his own ass. Don't run out of twine. A is the Iron Cross there. Okay. And what's C? Another SS license plate. We're not putting license plates on this. Okay. E is this symbol. We're not going to do that because that's the SS symbol. A is... Oh, I see. G is... What the hell's A? Oh, the German cross? All right, I'll tell you what we're going to do. Sometimes Father knows best. What do Italians know about putting decals on a German vehicle anyways? Go make me a pizza, bitch. And just for good measure. I think that's going to look great when we're done with it. Going to be like, that's really? That's the model that's 40 years old? I say, yep, that's the model that's 40 years old. I should just do that. Paint them all up in a weekend and then take another break, start the other stuff. Oh. Do what you want. Don't put too much planning. You're watching Force 10 from Navarone. I tried watching probably the first third and I just lost interest. Harrison Ford's just not a very good actor. I'm sorry. He does those two roles well. That's about it. You know, he's hard to watch. He's really, really hard to watch. He was okay as Jack Ryan, too. Jack Ryan, Indiana Jones, and Han Solo. Watching Force 10 from Navarone had a good laugh because the Soviets were kind enough to give the Germans T-34s to attack their positions. Do you get annoyed when they don't use authentic vehicles and try passing off other vehicles? I do. I do, because that's a big draw for me to watch it. I want to see the World War II stuff in action. It doesn't, it's obviously not firing real rounds, but, driving over shit, what's it sound like? All that kind of stuff. So, yeah, it's definitely a downer for me. It's definitely a Debbie Downer for me. Okay, so these guys are ready to decal in some form or another. Before I mess with the Hetzer's decals, let's make sure these work. I'm skeptical that they're going to work. I don't think that they will. But I'm a devout cynic sometimes. But okay, we have the road wheels on one of these bastards done. Okay, and the road wheels are done on this one too. All right, so we're going to flip them. We're going to go to the road wheels on the other Panther. And this little thing fell off. We'll glue it later. There's no point in gluing it now and then still have to fight with it. You get, yeah, you do, because everybody gets it free. Crackle. There's a movie on Crackle I started watching. I started watching, I've got 10 seconds into it, and then I had to turn it off. But no, that I want to see, that the trailer for it looks like it's got a lot of German equipment. And have faith. I'm of little faith. Don't get too excited. Worst thing for me is get excited about something and having the rug pulled out from under me. So we'll try our best that if it doesn't happen, then we'll go to plan Q. Luckily I'm talented enough that I can paint all kinds of shit. So they just look like decent decals. I might as well use them. If they don't work, well, they don't work. Told you so. Anyways, this movie is called The Final Stand or something like that. It's on Crackle. Yeah, or it's on Crackle now. It's not a Crackle movie. And Crackle's free. I think it's got commercials or something like that. But I haven't got a chance to check it out yet. Slowly rebuilding the stuff that I had on my phone because a lot of the stuff didn't transfer over. I had about 3 or 4 unboxings that I never did the second part of. So they're lost unless I can recover my phone. No big deal. Nothing, the Vespa's one of them, stuff like that. These two and a couple of Russian guns, I think is what it is. Zippy-doo, I'm not too worried about it. The nice thing about losing everything on your phone is the new email thing. Now it groups junk mail together. So I kept getting all these things from Pinterest that, it would suggest other things for you. And I was tired of them. And now it just dumps them in one email. And I can just wipe that one email off. So that's kind of nice that happened. But I'm pretty sure that the phone will be able to start up again whenever it dries out. Well, it's got to get a charge, be able to charge the battery again. And I'm not too worried about it one way or another. And I think the ironic thing is what I have on my screensaver on my new phone is, as much as I dislike black and white photos, it's a black and white photo. But it was really cool. I mean, what's not to like about that? P40, I don't know which one it is, N or something like that. Man, I was looking at airplane models like crazy the last couple days. You know, I have pretty good self control. I can look at stuff and never have to buy it. I just like perusing. Like, all right, if I wanted to get one of these, hey, what's up, maroon? Hey, what a maroon? If I was going to buy such and such, how much would it be? And man, I'm surprised how much armor models are. I mean, how much plane models are. I expected to see lots of stuff under $10. Oh. Well, the good thing is there's nothing tempting. Not tempted to buy anything. Finish this off and go grab a soda. I guess I should turn the fucking phone on, the microphone before I start talking. Anyways, I was saying, not in today's world you would find things that cheap. These scales, good 48 plane is going to run you at least $40. So I wasn't aware that Tamiya made so many stuff in 1/72nd scale. But what I was saying is I hadn't built a plane model since before I got out of high school. So I remember them being, an expensive one was $17 or something like that. Now there's lots of stuff under $15. And I'm not opposed to building an old one. It doesn't have to be the latest and greatest. Like I said, I actually like building models that are old and nobody gives a second look, and then you paint them like, man, it looks really good. Which one is it? That old thing. Why'd you make it look so good? Because I gave it some TLC. You can't just like throw shit on there, When I say good 48th, I mean one that's detailed. It goes together good and is photo etched for the cockpit. Yeah, I know I didn't unmute myself. I said that. But I didn't know that Tamiya made that many stuff at 72nd scale, so I'm wondering what one of their planes looks like. I'm a big fan of their stuff, or used to be. After building a few Russian kits, I'm not a fan of the Russian kits. The stuff's very delicate. And I'm surprised how expensive some things are. Like they had a swordfish float plane. Like that might be kind of cool. It has decals for it comes on one of the battleships, but it's like out of print. Like, dude, this just came out and what? Nobody has it. Like, I'm tired of this supply and demand crap. I'm absolutely tired of. Oh, we don't have things now. Oh, after COVID, oh, we don't have anything in stock. Oh, we don't know when we're going to get it. What do? You just come into work and sit at the end of a railroad spur and people bring things to you? I'm tired of the COVID's slackjawedness that's brought. And frankly, I'm pretty intolerant of it. I'll call people out on it. I don't give a shit if I come out as an asshole. Nope. I remember how things were just a few years ago. Turned you into a zombie. All you guys want to use is, you do excuses and smoke pot. That's like all everybody wants to do now. And play on their phones. So, yeah, this whole thing, well, we don't have these and, they don't make them anymore. What do you don't make them anymore? But I'm not a big fan of this Vestas because they're finicky. They're finicky. So, Tamiya isn't a gold standard anymore. Better companies have popped up in the last 10 years and knocked them off their perch. All right. So who's better than Tamiya? Who's better than Tamiya? And I've never built a Tamiya plane. I have built their Scharnhorst and a Rodney, both in 1/700 scale. And those were good. Of course, 1/35th scale. Who do you think is better than Tamiya? And I'll have to see if they make stuff at a scale that's of use to me. I don't believe anybody has better instructions than Tamiya. I just don't believe it. I just don't believe it. There's some kits out there that definitely have good detail, but the instructions are like, what's wrong with you? And I don't really care about getting the best stuff, because that's just like a keeping up with the Joneses thing. Like let's say you want to get the best Matilda or something. So you go and you search around and you find the one who makes the best Matilda, and you go and you order that kit and you built it and you're all happy. And then the next day somebody comes out with another Matilda kit that's better than the one. You need to just be happy with what you have. Let it not be something that, that tortures you putting it together. Meng. Doesn't Meng just make the over wacko sized cartoony characters? Ryfield, never heard of them. I mean, you mentioned them, but I never heard of them. Tacom, okay. Border Models is good. Border Models makes a bunch of like, I think they make a bunch of A13s. Trumpeter. Trumpeter kits blow Tamiya out of the water. Flyhawk blows everyone out of their water. Really. And every single one of those companies you mentioned are Chinese, aren't they? All right, I'm going to write some of these down and I'm going to look at them. Trumpeter, I built two trumpeter. I built two trumpeter tanks, and I agree they are pretty good, except they don't have the hatch issue. They don't have the option to have open hatches, so that's as this guy I like to watch that reviews cars. I'll have to zonk him for that. Trumpeter, okay. Trumpeter Flyhawk. Okay, Flyhawk may not make anything in the scale I'm interested in. Meng. Meng, that's what I seen. Those funky cartoonish T-34s or whatever. Ryfield. Wow, they must have lost the... when they were out picking names, they got last pick. Tacom. Yeah, I've heard of Tacom. I know they're Chinese. Border Models. I don't know where the hell they're from. Border Models. They make a model of an 8. They make several models of an 813 that I got the paint scheme from. Trumpeter, okay. Flyhawk does 700 strips. Base kits have more details than Tamiya kits, even after adding photo etch to the kit. I do believe they're Chinese. Okay. Let's see if any of those folks. There's a couple of model companies. I should have written them down that I looked at. I never heard of them before. Let me know if you know who these guys are. There should be a thing on here. Always show. This is a desktop. Always show every page as a desktop site, no matter what. I have a very powerful phone with really good resolution. Trust me. I believe it was swordfish. It had names like B&N or something like that. I'd never heard of it before. Come on. Oh no, that's not what I want to do. Here we go. Oh, now it's not going to work, huh? Asshole. Wow. In 700 scale, Flyhawk makes 6 Fairy Fulmars, 8 Fairy Swordfish, 4 Hawker Sea Hurricanes, and 1 700 scale. Don't make me pull out my pen. I don't know why it's not responding to search and scale. Let me see if I can find it. Frog is old as crap, isn't it? I'm pretty sure frog stuff's really, really old. Well, I can't freaking find it now. But I don't plan on getting super anal. Like if I build this fairy swordfish, I'm not buying the photo etch set for the freaking for all the cross bracing. That's just like I already have a job I dislike a lot. So, I don't need to bring that nonsense to my hobby. Mang puts out some my only problem with photo etch is how you glue this stuff together. I hate super glue. Super glue is just very difficult to work with. Mang puts out detail kits. Those mini tanks they do is very small line for their company. Tacom makes stunning kit. Tamiya suffers from being too good in the engineering department. The model builders are not choosing those kits. I could see them resting on their laurels, but they don't have to fight. They don't have to fight them, so they don't want to build them. Hey, I want stuff that's robust. That's not going to fall apart when it gets handled. I'm a painter. I can build complicated stuff, but I'm mainly here to paint them. Somebody was complaining on one of the kits I was reading that said that they didn't come with crew figures. I don't know that I want crew figures inside my plane. I don't know that I do because it's very likely that most pilot figures look pretty crappy. So I was actually surprised. I was actually thinking Mitch knew more about planes than he does. I don't think he knows anything about planes. You know, I've played flight simulators. I haven't played any plane board games, but I played flight simulators and I worked at a hobby store. You can't help but look at stuff. And I built planes when I was younger. I want to build planes that are unusual. I'm probably not going to build anything that I've already built before. It doesn't matter how good the plane is. That's irrelevant. You know, it's irrelevant to me that it's a good plane. I was thinking like, okay, who makes a Nate? If we're going to do Japanese aircraft, which we've never done Japanese aircraft, let's start at the bottom. Who makes a Nate? Nate is a Japanese army fighter that was used in the Philippines and China with fixed landing gear. And it is god awful. It's got like two 30 cal machine guns, and that's it. that's pitiful. Especially if you're engaging American aircraft, which are probably the most robust, except maybe like a Sturmovik. Okay, that's about all the black bits on there. So while that's drying, there's no point in, I can only do one. I gotta wait on the other one. Let's do the tracks on this vehicle. Let's get the old German camouflage black brown. That's the dark rusty color we like to use. And we can use a brush that has a little bit more size. A little bit more size to it. But it was pure accident that I gamed last Monday. I actually had no intention of doing that. And it's just like, with workload being how it is, I'd rather just not plan on doing anything at all than try to do something and then come up empty handed. That's just happened way too many times. So if I hadn't decided on my own free will to stop doing DBA stuff over a year ago, the last 3 months would have done it. I would have just said, fuck this, I'm not doing this anymore. Need something a lot less demanding of my responsibility. Getting something to eat awfully late. Well, maybe you get up later. I don't know, when you wake up sets a pace for all your meals throughout the day. As far as I'm concerned. I'm getting up at 5, that's when I'm going to eat breakfast. And then, I'm going to have lunch at 11. And then I'm like, well, I'm going to eat as close to 5 as I can. End up waiting too late to eat, and then you just end up getting sluggish. And end up having to go to bed early, at least in my case, and then shit, I didn't do anything I wanted to do all day, Now there are some spare tracks up here. Now we'll see what kind of an evening we have depending on how much interaction I get with you guys. It's nearly Friday. The hardest day of the week is coming up next, which of course it's Friday. So by the time Friday rolls around, I'm worn out. Okay, and we'll do the same thing with the spare tracks here. So when it ended up being too late to start a show yesterday and the night before, just been fooling around on the console for an hour or so before bed. I don't want to get on here and screw around with this just for an hour. It's just kind of a waste. But it's hard for me to do anything on the console for more than an hour. It just gets bored. I did that before I got on here. Figured, there's no point in starting like at 6. Nobody's going to be here. Feel that sometimes it's really late and decide it's not worth doing any model work tonight. Yeah, I know several people that they did not have. I don't know if they do now, but my one buddy used to come over on. I don't know what day of the week he decided to come over. I know Jeff used to come over on Wednesdays. I think he might have done Wednesdays as well. My buddy Scott would come over, and he didn't have really any time to work on stuff at his house because he didn't have a place that he could leave all his stuff set up. That's just a disaster. That's just like, if I've got to like take this apart and put it up every time I'm doing it, I'm like, I need to have like a 4 or 5 hour paint session. Otherwise, you're just, all you're doing is setting things up just to take it back down. Like, that's a no-go situation. But if I know that I've got like this solid wall, like, okay, you're not going to be able to do it past this time, I'd rather not do it because it just ends up turning into another item that I'm rushed. Like, I'm not going to be able to finish it and you got to be done in an hour and you haven't even started yet. It's like, okay, that's not what I want my hobby to be. My hobby is therapy from all that shit that happens on a daily basis. So if I'm bringing those kind of feelings and angst, anguish, mental anguish to my modeling, then yeah, I don't want to do that. It's not the purpose it's supposed to solve it, but yeah, he didn't have a dedicated paint area. That would just be bad. That would, you can't get anything done. And by the time you got everything set up, it's time to take it down again. So, I don't think there's a lot of people that way. I think most people have some area they can. It doesn't have to be huge. Just a desk or something. And when we do decide to cut those decals out, we're going to use ones that we don't care what happens to them. So, yeah, see, this is the problem with had some paint on one little leg of this. If you bristles aren't going to hold together, I will replace you. I have a decent spot and desk, but I might move it to a different spot. Yeah, just keep somewhere dedicated. That way you can, you can keep building upon what you did the previous session. It doesn't matter that you don't get everything as long as you're moving towards a goal. That's why I like just building this stuff, not necessarily with I gotta get these Panthers done by the game on Sunday. Like, no, I'm not doing that. I'd rather not game. No, you're creating stress or there wasn't any. Okay, this thing is. I'm not going to use that for that anymore. It's giving me. I'm having to babysit it too much. Excuse me. That one's okay for now. Let's make sure it doesn't misbehave. I know you told me. Is there a reason why you picked Cardinals? Not that I have anything against Cardinals. At least you didn't pick Mockingbird, the gray Mockingbird or something. Man, those things are annoying as shit. Where were we? When we went to Canada, their mockingbird equivalent is a bird called a magpie. And it's really a beautiful bird. It's like iridescent blue-ish black with like a white tail. Really pretty bird, but it's a nuisance bird. It comes in and creates issues for them. I've certainly heard the name magpie, but never seen one. But that's their That's their nuisance bird. That's like their crow. And they were all over the place. I'd never seen them before. I was like, man, they must like cold weather. Cardinals were your grandmother's favorite birds, so they have a. Oh crap! I was on the wrong chat. Why doesn't this default to live chat? They have a good significance. There you go. See if I missed something. Too much inflation. I didn't catch you. You said that. Lens Connect. Hello from Arizona, Stan. You know, it's like they're trying all the inflation that didn't happen for 20 years. They want to do it all in 2 years. Like, that's a dick move. Arizona. 2 people from Arizona come on here. Because Kevin's on there from Arizona. He's near Scottsdale, I think. Arizona, where they don't change their clocks, right? Or am I imagining it? I think you guys said, F you, we're not changing it. Good, pick a time. Although I like this one now because I don't come home as, dreary. It's dreary. It's exhausting to go to work in the dark and come home in the dark. Welcome to live chat. Remember to guard your privacy and abide by our community guidelines. Everybody here knows how to behave. You can go troll somewhere else, This is a no troll zone. Arizona. It was dry here today, like Arizona. Not really. It's a lot drier there, but that's why I was coughing a little earlier. It's just too dry. And we're in a real high pollen zone. Our front porch and our black porch, no, and our back porch are both covered in yellow. So. Not until we get out of this season are we going to get away with that. It's a loud vehicle. It's be some redneck truck. We don't change your clocks. There you go. Why don't you talk everybody else in this country to do that? Okay, and of course we're going to dry brush shit out of all this, so. And we got this cable. I don't want to paint the cable rusty. We can just use black for that. You're working on a 28 millimeter Chiha medium tank right now. Just a standard Chiha, not a Shinhoto Chiha. The type model of the tanks drive me crazy. I don't know what a Chiha is. Is it a 98? I want to say it is. with the short 57 millimeter gun, right? I think that's what it's got. It's got a 57 millimeter gun. But of all the tanks, that one and the Hago were the most common for the Japanese. I mean, they far outstripped those two than anything else. Because they'll have something like, there's some tanks that were actually pretty decent. They either left them on Japan to guard against invasion, or they were prototypes and they really didn't do anything on with them. Okay. Right. We'll call it a draw. I'm going to take a bathroom break, and I will be right back in about 10 or 15 minutes. So we're going to go ahead and do the be right back thing, and we will be back in a few. Okay, that is probably. Oh, well, we still have the tracks to do here. Yeah, I sometimes leave stuff off and I'm doing multiple models at the same time, but it's not like it's a problem. Not like you can. I mean, hell, you can seal this whole thing as you find it later. You just go and paint it and just seal that little bit. And if it's something you've forgotten that's like deep in the recesses of the model, you don't even have to seal it. You know, it's for the most part. Most of this paint's pretty flat anyway, so. We are doing the two Panthers at the same time. The the ones that like to catch fire when you start them up. But the only model I wouldn't try is like a vacuum form kit. And I don't know if anybody even builds those things now. But I remember you wanted something really weird. Oh, yeah, they're making a vacuum form. You're like, what the hell's that? And I saw one and I'm like, oh no. Mm-mm. Cut it and hopefully the pieces align and fill the gap. No, no. Pick a different plane. Pick a different plane. Don't build that one. It's unusual that people would be building Japanese armor. Oh, good for you. That's good. You know, I picked these two because there's something I could use my Noble Knight credit on. You know, they happen to have them. Because these are kind of limited. These are like a Kursk only type thing. Only at Kursk. That's why I painted them the way I did. Kind of did the small squiggles of. That was prevalent in that Panzer Brigade. Panzer Brigade or Panther Brigade? Yes, both. Japanese World War II tanks, definitely one of those not very likely. Builds. But I kind of like the weird stuff, the stuff you don't see everybody seeing, you know? I mean, how many more P-51s and Messerschmitts do you need to see? And I just remembered the name of the model company that I was going to Ask Nordic about it. I bet he'd never heard of them before. Okay, that's the track links there. Now, while that's drying, we got some other track that's on the front of here. Panzer II track. I didn't realize this was an extended hull. I guess it's extended. It's this rear idler wheel. It's extended back because the distance here seems to be about the same. It's just an elongated by, would it be 3 or 4 feet, something like that? Okay, how about the Hummel? She got anything spare? Yep. She got spare inaccurate looking tracks on the front of the glacis here. .28 millimeter. I take it that's from Warlord Games. Or what's that other company that makes stuff for Warlord Games? It's similar to that. Although, isn't 28 millimeter supposed to be like 156 or something like that? Rubicon. Rubicon. I'm so jealous of all the freaking decal options that people have in that scale. A lot of options. A whole bunch of them. This thing's got road wheels galore, too. Well, these decals I painted definitely are more than 15 minutes. There's no doubt about that. So let's attempt. Let's see what we're looking at here. Let's see if this even works. I'm going to pour myself some fresh water. You're back with tacos. Good. I got a couple of names of some model companies. See if you've heard of them before. It's not a quiz. I mean, it's just I came across them and see if you know if they're worth a damn or not. Tell you what they are. One of them was a company that makes some fairy swordfish float planes, and the other one I remember what model I came across it. Speaking of decals that ever check out Alaran, I do. They look like great, but I don't need any of their stuff. But yeah, they're actually on my. They're on my things to get if I do start doing a bunch of British vehicles. But no, I haven't bought any. I'm just trying to go through the stuff that I have here. Okay, so one of these companies is called ZTS Plastik. Palstyk. It looks like it's like from Poland or something like that. ZTS Plastik. MPM. MPM sounds familiar. I think they're like Czech or something like that. Oh, that's an upgrade kit. Never mind. Cooperativa. That sounds Russian. Molded in Russia. How did you think? Oh, it comes with photo etch. Like I said, I think photo etch isn't that difficult to work with because it's a lot better than working with like bent sprue. The problem is I don't like gluing it with super glue. I hate super glue. And the other company was I saw something that came on Facebook about a plane, and it was a Heinkel 112. And I'm like, well, that's an interesting plane. And the name of this company is RS Models. Looks like they're Polish. And the reason I thought this was cool is I came across this plane and they make Romanian stuff. Look at this. You got to see this. It's actually pretty cool instructions. Might get a kick out of that. That's pretty cool. Anyhow, never heard of these things. I could probably make any of them work, to be honest with you. Never heard of any of those companies. I don't trust bending sprue unless maybe the plastic was softened. Yeah, I don't. I can't make antennas out of sprue anymore. It just doesn't work. The plastic's changed. It used to work in the 80s. Okay, we're doing 11 on here on little Vespi. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to test this out. Before we ruin these, we've already put this skim coat on here, the decal film. So I'm actually going to take out this decal that says Vespa on it. It's part of the decal, but it is a decal. It's on the sheet. It's not necessarily meant for a decal, but we're going to test it and make sure this thing doesn't shatter. If it doesn't shatter, then we'll do some of the other stuff. If I can slide that thing off, then we'll move forward and put the little 11s on there. And if not, we'll just pretend we didn't have those decals. You know, what are you going to do? You always like the colored shots of the subject from all angles. What scale do they do? Well, they do 1/72. The one true scale. I just don't see any point in doing 48th if you don't do tanks in 48th. You know, it makes sense for it to be all together. It's easier to just get some of the ready-made line for rigging ships to use for antenna line. Made in the USA. We'll see how this works. Well, this came off. Okay, and it's all one piece. All right. If that's the case, let's take this 11 and cut these out. I'm going to get some height advantage. Planes are too expensive in 1/35 and too large. And there's not a big selection, is there? And then I got to worry if they're yellowed, because it could be yellowed no good anyways. It said 15 minutes. It waited a lot. I waited a lot longer than 15 minutes. Put that one there. And put this one here. Let's go get that micro. Not the saw, the set. Yep, says to put it up against that. All right, we'll do that. Yeah, this will end up looking just fine. I'd be shocked that selection for 135 planes is over 10 kits. Yeah, it just doesn't make any sense that they make 132. You know, there's more than 10 132s, and they have some 124 things as well. That's got to be really big. I mean, like a Messerschmitt in 124th's got to be like, and I said Messerschmitt because I know they make one. It's got to be like this long, like lengthwise. Oh, we opened it, but we didn't put it on. You're doing this, and you need to do this. Hopefully these aren't too yellowy. Let's close this back up. We don't need a spill of unusual size. These tweezers really are phenomenal. That's why I can't afford to buy any more. I got these as a hand-me-down from my dad, probably in the mid-'80s. And they're made in Switzerland. And you want to buy Swiss, these things are like $50. I'm like, I ain't spending $50 on that. God, be careful. Well, luckily one smells like horrible vinegar. The red one's not very useful. I rarely use it. Well, if this stuff works, I'll bring it to show and tell the model meeting on Tuesday. Can't believe it's been a month since I've been to the model meeting. Yeah, we'll see after we spray it. It looks as good as any of the other decals. I mean, it looks like there's a little bit of color underneath it, but that's happened every time with all the other ones. And once you clear coat it, it's good. So far so good. I'm gonna do the. I'm gonna put the German crosses on there. Let's. I want these. Let's break them off from each other. For starters. Okay, there's one. I got way too much of this in here. There we go. Thinking about heading out in a few minutes. Want to play a battle you have set up on the table. Could have just gotten a computer game. Would have been done already. Be curious what you think of his combat system. Be curious what you think about it. A lot of those type of board games, one of the things that boils down to, for me, is there a predictable turn sequence? Because if it's predictable, I'm not interested in playing it. You know, it starts being like, yeah, like there's only one good thing to do at a given time. It just ends up being like an autopilot. Which is not something I would look forward to. What combat system? The combat system that's in the Alexander thing. The Richard Berg's combat system. I don't know much about the guy other than he used to be. I guess he passed away a few years ago. Not that many, but he used to be difficult on the miniatures page. But, you know, he's a very prolific games author. But he's an attorney from New York, so there you go. Or was an attorney from New York, so I can tell you I probably wouldn't want to play a game with him. It's probably a dickhead. Might be brilliant, you know, but now, if that black ends up staying cloudy like that, it's not a big deal because I can just paint over it. And it gives me a guide of where it is. This might actually be a good job for a microsol. Take some of that off. I'm actually going to put some on there. See if that works. Looks okay. Now I can't unsee that it's a lengthened Panzer II. I thought it was the same length as a Panzer II. Before we mess up the Hummel, Great Battles of History. Yeah, it's Richard Berg. Well, for starters, that brought the color back to life. Very interesting. Unfortunately, it's shifting it around. I guess their old decals didn't have very good grippage. Yeah, look at that. Look at that black cross. I don't know if you can see this. You see the black cross there that is kind of blurry? I'm going to show it to you. I'm going to do it like we used to do it with the old phone. I'm going to take a picture of it, and I'm going to take another picture of it. Find out where the hell my camera is. Okay. All right, and then here's the other side. Okay, so the first one is I was telling you that almost looks like the paper has a lot of white on it. Now, some of that's going to go away when you flat coat it because I've seen it happen. However, the one I put the microsol on, look how much better it is. So this with a microsol will definitely look good with when you dull coat it. And we'll come in and hit some of these spots with a highlight. We'll highlight these edges and stuff with like a pencil. I think this thing's going to look really good. I think it's going to look really good. Now, I'm not going to have any crew members that are going to be permanently in there. We could probably use some crew members from all the shitload of martyrs that I have. I think that should be fine. Each game in the series has a slightly different set of rules, but vastly different. It's a fun system. Hope you're playing the games right. I, I don't need that in my life. I don't mind playing it, but I don't mind playing other games, but I'm not going to be the guy to figure it out. I'm not going to be the one reading the rule book. I got too much on my plate. Yeah. Well, that's good because I need a use for this micro saw. I don't use it hardly at all. I do if it's over a rough surface, but most of the time, you're putting the decal on somewhere flat. Almost always. So we just got to be a little careful. Um, I think I'm more careful than most people. But that might not actually be saying that much. Oh, we got a problem, officer. Okay, let's put this thing down so we don't tamper with it and accidentally move something that's. So the decal film, what does work to hold it together? The question is going to be is the decal so old that it has no grippage left to it to stick itself to the model? So we'll see. But yeah, now it's starting to turn opaque again. Well, before I mess with the Hummel, I should probably seal this and see how it reacts to it. If not, we'll just hand paint the numbers. I play both sides the same rules. So if I mess up on one side, I mess up on the other side as well. I'm not worried about getting every rule right solo playing. Worried about whether I enjoy the game or not. Well, I have to put my departure off. Started getting a sinus headache. Damn weather changing. I would rather pretty much have anything other than a headache. Explosive diarrhea. Sign me up. Well, it depends on how big the explosion is. And if I'm at work while it happens. Which fortunately is like never the case. I don't get that comfy at work. All right. So we have the Panthers. And I'm going to go ahead and do the... Oh, we don't have the frickin' crosses here. I didn't put them on. That's what I should have done. Dork. Okay, the little cross goes there. I got to see if I've got more because for some reason I only have one set of decals. I can't find the second set of decals from the Zvezda. I don't think that they only came with one. So I know what size those need to be able to fit in there. So what do we got out there Balkan Kreutz-wise that'll fit in there? Those are a possibility, but I definitely want to use whichever ones I use. I want them the same on both vehicles. No. No. Nope. Nope. Those are too big. Nope. Also nope. Also nope. I don't want to use the Rodin ones. I want to use the Rodin ones for the Rodin vehicles. They get first dibs on that. I don't mind using the decals for somebody else, but I don't want to use them for somebody else and realize, oh crap, the ones that they're made for, yeah, I don't have enough for them. We'll use these. We'll use these from I have 3 of these. Well, I'm not going to put one behind it. I'm not going to put one down here. It's kind of a waste down there. So we just need 4 of them. I'm going to put this away. And let's cut out 4. Sinus headaches are annoying as hell, especially when they're above your eyes. Just make it difficult to keep your eyes open. Yeah, I don't do well with headaches. I had a friend of mine that said the best thing for a headache is to go for a run. I'm like, you're a sadist. I don't care if that's good for it. I ain't doing it. First of all, you just asked me to go for a run. Second of all, why would I go for a run when I have a headache? I'm like, no. No, but I have noticed as I've gotten older, I don't like to. I don't know if these decals are going to work, but we're gonna give it a shot. As I've gotten older, I used to lay down for a headache, and now I can't. Now it's worse. If I have a headache, I'd rather be standing up. I want to cut these close to the edge because they're kind of in a confined area. And I don't want to have some silvery overlap there. And I hope there's some white around them. If not, we can hand paint that if we need to. We could touch those little details up. I just don't want to touch up the number. See, I've been doing a lot of, if I only have like an hour or something like that, I'm just like, well, let me fire up the Xbox and play. What's it called? Rule the Warships. Hey, it's a hokey ass game, but it's free. I don't pay any real money for it, and it looks okay. It's hokey as hell, but that's all right. One of those games that's definitely developed for pay to win type things. But it's not something I can do for a long time. After a while, it's just, kind of a waste. The temp above 70 today. It was like close to, it was in the 80s here. Beautiful day, but the weather's going to do flip-flops here for a bit. Damn stink bugs are back. You utterly hate them. Do they look like the ones I showed you the picture of? I think they're cute. They're getting up all up in your Sprite, huh? I took the car for a wash and came back. I think it was this last weekend. Came back at the end of the same day. It was already covered yellow. It was already yellow in pollen. If you're allergic to pollen, you don't want to live here. Just be miserable. I get a little stuffy, but very little. Enough to realize, am I getting sick? Oh no, it's pollen. Never mind. We're good. Okay. Made in the USA in California stand. That's why I don't like them. They go after my drinks. Bastards. Fighting dirty. Well, if you're a stick bug, man, drinking some Sprites, heavenly, man. What'd you say? It smelled like feet and what? I had a buddy of mine's house many, many years ago I went to. I walked in to his house and I go, "Are you making popcorn?" And all of a sudden he's laughing. He's laughing so hard you can't even understand him. He can hardly even breathe. I said, "Dude, what's wrong with you? What's so funny about that?" I said, as he caught his breath and he says, "Well, I always tell everybody that my feet smell like popcorn and they think I'm crazy." I said, "Man, you need to deodorize your feet, man." Popcorn feet. Very allergic to pollen to the point I can't have the windows or doors open in the spring, summer, or fall because the pollen is bad here. Yeah, you're not missing anything having the doors open. But you are going to have to step outside, so if you do bad with it being outside, you're kind of up the creek. There we go. Here's this little decal. Oh, that fits in there nicely. I actually don't like the location of the cross there. I think it looks stupid, but I didn't design it. Some dumbass Nazi did. So, Nazi bastard. The crooked spider people. Yeah, I actually don't like it there. I think it's like they ran out of ideas. Dirty feet and farts. Well, farts can be all over the place. I take it's probably the farts you don't like. And I'm only saying that because I'm sure there's some people out there that like farts. I'm not going to go there. Don't look that up on the internet. It's probably not a good. It's probably not going to take you somewhere wholesome. Pollen and dust. Yellow dust. Uh-oh. This one came unglued. Don't get all uppity. And there's another one that supposedly, according to the decals, goes here in between the two mufflers. Pretty much between the exhaust. Pretty much a waste putting it there. Pretty much worthless. Gonna be down there, you can't even see. That area is gonna be so like laden with weathering. It's not gonna be able to make any heads or tails out of that. I'm not gonna mess with a Vespa. I'm not gonna mess with a Hummel. We'll make sure that this thing goes off. without a hitch. I'll probably wait until another day to make sure that the crinkle goes away in it, which is what happens with the microsol. And then dull coat it over the weekend. King of the Nerd Burglars. He got deposed off his throne. All right, folks. Well, we're going to go ahead and call this one out. A couple hours here. And we'll see you guys on the next one. See you later, folks.